Kind of like blend into the wall here.
Let me make sure. We're feeding. I think we are. Let's see here. Good morning. Hello and welcome to Tech Talk with T&E. Today it's just T, so welcome everybody. Today I'm super excited to have Patric Shannon with us. He's got a great piece of software we'll talk about, his Rank Masters group, and in his event coming up here in a couple weeks. Actually less than that now. So yeah, welcome Patric. Thank you for joining
Hey,
us.
thanks, sir. Thank you. Great to be on here, man.
So cold Florida is where you're at, huh?
I'm currently in the cold part of Florida. Where my wife and I, we did something really cool this weekend. We got a hotel room. We brought whiteboards and calendars, and we just got really intentional about how we want 2025 to go, with laying
Mhm.
out our goals and schedules, diving into our finances, and just really trying to not let this year unfold, and create it on be intentional about creating it rather than letting it kind of happen to us.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's Elizabeth and I have been doing. I think that's super important. Even if it's not couples and you go away with your managers or something, but we do it twice a year for regular type stuff, and then once a year for finance. So the finance weekends are pretty crazy because and we'll typically find and be able to save probably upwards of 10 times what the weekend cost us. So, but we
Yeah.
scrutinize everything. We scrutinize, all the little $29.95 monthly payments to all these little pieces of software that we all buy and stuff. And yeah, I think it's super important to make sure that you or your partner or spouse are all on the same page. That's awesome. So, and we're going to do that in Orlando when we're at your event. We're staying later because we're going to the stuff we learned at your Rack Masters event last year. It completely changed our way we did our goal structure. So this year we've halfway done it maybe, but then we're going to get into, as soon as your event's over in Orlando, we're going to stay a few extra days and just freaking dig in. So
I like it. Yeah.
kudos to you guys. So that's pretty cool. So what audacious, can you give us one audacious goal that you guys set this weekend?
I've got a whiteboard over here that I'm kind of glancing over at. We're zeroing in on our trips. Um, one of them is to spend New Year's in Sydney, Australia.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's supposedly one of the best celebrations, and because they're in the southern hemisphere, it's summertime there, so they have fireworks on the beach. Um, I think it's really important to be clear about, hey, what are your bucket list goals? And
Mhm.
those, in my mind, those aren't meant to be checked off the last few years of our life. They should be checked off every year. So that's kind of one of them that we're going after. Going to sign up for Krav Maga. That was another one that,
All
like,
right.
get a little self defense. Better fitness. Just a lot of stuff outside of work. That was a lot of the planning. We listed off our favorite concerts, and or like favorite musicians and comedians, and a couple Broadway shows. Just a lot of stuff like this, where it's like we're not going to get all of it on here, but we can brainstorm from it. And we kind of didn't finish the planning. We're going to have to extend it to extra innings.
Heck yeah. Another weekend, baby. That's the
Yeah,
way you do it.
yeah.
So I don't know. People think I'm crazy, but I love our staycation weekends. So, and of course, we did it this year to when we chose the venue for spring training. We went and did one of our meeting weekends at that hotel. You know,
Hmm.
so yeah, no, good idea, good plan. So tell us a little bit about LeadSnap and how did LeadSnap get started?
Yeah. So,
By the way, one of my favorite pieces of software. People hear me rave about LeadSnap. But yeah, I'm curious to know, how'd you even think about it? Was it, like a lot of things, an internal thing, and you're like, hey, you know what, I could make this bigger type of thing.
yeah, that's exactly what it was. Coming from a background as a software engineer and trying to run an agency, evaluating the other platforms that are out there, I was just not happy with what I was finding. So we just built it to started off to track leads and to track Google business profiles internally. That was our goal, is like we didn't really have a good way. Tried pretty much every software we could under the sun. And so we had no plans when it was just like started out really simple, with leads going into a spreadsheet. And then, as our agency was growing, more and more Google business profiles, not knowing what was going on. Is this thing suspended? How are the rankings? All these different things. And, it's kind of crazy looking back on it. And now it's in, I think we counted last month, and it was 37 countries that LeadSnap's being used in right now. And it was like, man, not not what I thought was going to
Yeah,
happen.
that's cool. So, yeah, and it's not an easy piece of software to keep going, because you have, obviously, one of the reasons I love it is I don't have to have my VAs log into GMB profiles. And that was the biggest thing for me, is because I'd wake up in the morning and go, okay, let's see what got suspended last night for no freaking reason.
Yeah, same with us. We're managing in our agency, which we funded LeadSnap with the money from the agency, right? So we're managing a couple of thousand Google business profiles in our agency, and it's just really hard to keep your hand on the dial with that
Mhm.
much going on. And now with AI, like we have AI working with our GBPs doing a lot of different things, which has made things really cool. And there's a lot more coming out around that I'm going to keep the lid on for now, just because it's been flattering. But a lot of times we create something in LeadSnap and then I see it show up a couple months later. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to be like, hey, here's a great idea if you're running a GPP software. So we've got some really cool stuff coming out, though, that I think I know it's gonna make life better for my agency. We talk a lot about it in our agency, like where can we replace something with automation and AI, and that's really where our software has been going the last year, and where it's going to continue to go.
Right on. Yeah, that's exciting to see, because it's something that a lot of people don't realize, that when you have a SaaS product or whatever, the ongoing continuing updates is where a lot of people fail with SaaS products. They either kind of grow outside their lane, so to speak, to become more of everything, and then they start losing the basic functionality that the software was designed for. And you and I have seen that multiple times with multiple pieces of software. But that's one of the things I love about LeadSnap. So definitely check out LeadSnap. We love it. If you want to talk to me about it and how we use it, I'm happy to do that. So yeah, great piece of software.
Yeah, I
So
appreciate that. Thank
that's
you.
awesome. So good morning, Brandon. And then good morning from Bangladesh. Cool. I don't
Bangladesh.
even know what time it is over there. Thank you for
Probably
being
like,
with us. So tell me, you guys just got back from World of Concrete. You know, one of the things that I think a lot of agency owners don't look at are going to events that it may be into your niche, or maybe into a niche you want to get into. And tell us a little bit about that event, and was it worthwhile? All that kind of good stuff.
yeah. So the name of my agency is the Concrete Marketers. So we specialize in working with concrete, and we've been in this niche about 9 years. We've been focused on concrete. This is the first time we've gone and gotten a booth, and it'll be probably the last time that I don't go. I'm going to go every time from now on. Is what I'm trying to say. Like
Yeah.
it was amazing, right? I think we spent $6,000 or $7,000 to rent the space, and then another couple $1,000 on like the booth, like the
Mhm.
materials for the booth, and then a few $1,000s in swag. So we're in it for like $12,000. It's 12 to 15, somewhere around there. Paid for dinner for the team. There's seven of us there. Um, so like maybe like 15K, but I don't know how much. I think we've already collected 15K, and we're in a recurring business model. Like,
Yeah.
and there's probably like another, um, you know, I would say at least 10 clients that will close. Our average client per month is somewhere between like $2,500 and $3,000 a month. And we usually keep them for about 4 years, 3.9 years. So that means our average client's worth more than $100,000 to us, right? And
Yeah.
we're looking at closing like 15 to 20 clients from this event. So like the math is stupid. It's like either like why would I ever not go? Like it's really
Yeah.
expensive not to go if those are the numbers. Um, what you learn too is like, you know, based on how you're acquiring clients into your agency, there's going to be patterns that exist. The pattern
Mhm.
that exists at trade shows is people that are more serious, that are running bigger companies, that are like they're doing things at volume. They've invested in their company, and they are usually bringing out a team to the world of concrete. You know, they're doing multiple millions of dollars on Facebook. We run Facebook ads, and that's a good way for us to land clients too. And a lot of these people who's on Facebook, like if you said like which one is going to have bigger, like the people that have flown out to and got a hotel with their teams and are like actively participating in the trade show, or people that are on Facebook, right?
Mhm.
Just like you're picking from the top of the barrel with the trade show. So it was awesome, Terry. I highly recommend it. And if you're like being niche down and then going to the trade show of your niche, I mean, the positioning was so powerful for
Mhm.
us. Yeah.
I agree 100%. Now, this was the first time with the booth? Did you go another time and just walk the event and kind of give out business cards, that type of thing? Did you do
I
that
did.
before?
I did when I was just like a little baby agency owner. It was probably in around 2016, 2017, somewhere around in there.
Mhm.
Uh, I had a client. I was living in Vegas, and a client had like an event, and they asked me to come and speak at their event, and that went really well. It was just like they're contractors. He was a manufacturer of materials for concrete, and then he was like, "Hey, here's a pass," and I didn't really understand what I was getting into. I didn't, I just went out there to try to see it, and I was overwhelmed, and I didn't really understand the opportunity at that time, and for some reason when somebody mentioned it at the end of this year, because it's in the third week of January, somebody mentioned it in December. I was like, we've got to go to that. Why wouldn't we go? Why, and I don't understand why I never thought in the last like 8 years to go back. But man, Terry, you ever been out there for that one?
Which one? The World of Concrete?
Yeah,
No, we had a couple clients that went. One of my big foundation repair clients, they actually invented and got the all the copyright and approval on a new anchor bolt system for foundation repair.
yeah,
So he was out there promoting that, and no, but I have been out to CES, obviously, and then when I was flipping houses, I'd go to all the real estate ones just to hobnob with the bigger people. But and I'm niched down in the medical side or medical spa side, and there's a big one coming up. It's actually a week before our conference, so we're not going to go to that one this year. But yeah, I think it's awesome, and especially doing like local events. We started doing local meetups and stuff with business owners, and just getting yourself out there to a different crowd is super, super important. But
yeah,
that's awesome, man. That's next year you do it bigger and better, and
sure.
so I don't know
Well,
how many people there. What do you think? They had 6,000 people there or something?
way more. It's the second biggest trade show in the world.
Oh
It was
wow.
it was massive. It was massive. They probably I mean they had these halls. There's three of them, but I mean I don't know, maybe like each one's 5 football fields long. And it's just like people everywhere. It's overwhelming. And then there's an outside area. There might have been 50,000 people walking around in that thing. It was just like,
Wow.
I mean, we made a lot of I mean, there are a lot of learning lessons. I wouldn't call them mistakes. There's a lot of stuff we're going to do differently. We kind of were on the edge, and there's only one way to walk by our booth, but there's
Okay.
other booths where you can walk by it from 4 different angles. So I want to make sure we put it there. We were in the wrong area. We were, near like robot tech section. We should have been out near where like the flatworks and coatings companies. There was a bunch of booths like that. Next year, I'm gonna go all out on it. I'm gonna get a huge
Mhm.
booth couches. We wrote out down a whole list. We're going to get a popcorn machine to we'll track people in with the smell,
Yeah.
give out more swag, maybe hire some promotional models to have them kind of walk around. 'Cause it's mostly men that are at this
Hmm.
thing. It was great for team building too. I took everyone out to a really nice like Vegas restaurant, and then we all went out to Cirque du Soleil show. So, living in Vegas, I've been to a bunch of these, but if you haven't seen one of those, just to hear the team, they'll just blow you away.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff, the acrobats and crazy things that they're doing that doesn't seem possible. So um, yeah, it was really special, and I'm
Mhm.
excited to do it again.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was those things are incredible. If you're an agency owner or growing an agency and stuff, and look at those events. They're all over the place now. I know back when COVID was happening, even right after COVID ended, there still wasn't very many out there, but now they're everywhere again. So I'm really excited you went because, like I said, it's your niche, and I knew you guys were going to kill it, even in the bad spots you were in your little booth. But that's awesome, because that
Yeah,
you just got lead sources for 30 days plus,
for
you
sure.
know.
Yeah, so
So
it's definitely like I'm going to build out a whole training on this within Rank Masters to kind of share what we did and the learning experiences, and I'm going to keep a running total on our ROI from this event, and just kind of really understand how much this was worth to us. Build out a whole case study around it.
yeah, oh heck yeah, I would too. That's awesome. Add that to your slide deck when you do your presentations.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about Rank Masters. So Rank Masters is another project that you're in with Chris Moore and Jeff Howell.
Uh-huh.
There might be some more people in there, but tell us a little bit about Rank Masters and how that even came to be.
Yeah. So, uh, when I started my agency and really started in like 2013, I that's when it started as a software company. We were building software, and then if you could build software and you could talk to people, people ask you to build websites. And I realized, hey, the websites we're building, they're not going to give people what they want. People want business. These are just like websites. So then we dove into the SEO and marketing space and jumped into like an SEO coaching program. I think it was $3,000 or $4,000, and that was really helpful for a while. There's like 7,000 people in that group, but as you level up, you kind of outgrow your group. And I'd spent a lot of time coaching in this group towards the last couple years, and um, trying to help agency owners, like, because like you, Terry, I get obsessed with something when I'm trying
Hmm.
to figure it out. I'm like, okay, so I started to grow my agency. We went from we were stuck at $4,000 a month for year and a half or so, and then we went from 4 to like 40,000, and then we just kept doubling, and the agency's growing, and people needed help. So at some point, you like, I can't do this like one to one, so I've got to set up a one to many. And I was really frustrated with teaching people, and when they're not paying, they don't care about trying to. It doesn't hurt if they don't take the advice. You know,
Exactly.
it sucks. We're like, hey, I've got this problem. I'm like, hey, I tried 9 different things. Here's the ninth one that worked for me. A couple months later, I've still got this problem. Did you try this thing? No, I did this, this, and this. I'm like, I tried those. This didn't work for me. Oh, they didn't work for me either. It's like, here's what works, man. Try this out, right? And I can help you through it. And at some point, you're like, well, let's get to people who are serious, and let's put our time into that. And that's where Rank Masters was born. Chris Moore. I was in a mastermind with him, and you see someone that's sharp, that's got a lot of skills, and there's that saying, right? You want to surround yourself with the 5 people that you want to be like. So
Hmm.
I decided I was going to be really intentional about that, and I said, hey, Chris, let's start this thing. And Jeff had been working in our agency and in LeadSnap, so we brought him in as well. And so that's kind of Rank Masters was born. It's a coaching program to help agencies scale. The tagline that we have is personal freedom through agency mastery. I spent 2 years traveling around the world after I pulled myself out of the agency. Then when COVID hit, we bought an RV and traveled around the country. Agency was growing while this was happening. And life is short, and people, if people are interested in personal freedom through an agency, that was the whole reasoning behind this, is like, let's teach what we've known, and we're in the trenches with it in a few different ways, right? One, we run an agency. Two, we've got a SaaS platform for agencies. And three, now we have a coaching program. So we're staying involved. I felt like when I was getting coaching, a lot of times they were good at marketing the coaching program, but they didn't necessarily do what they were. Yeah, it was like they weren't in the trenches. So it seemed like I can help these people. A lot of people that I care about and I want to help, and I can build out a whole curriculum. So it's been now, I guess, like 2 years. This February, I think, will be 2 years, or in the next week or so, it'll be our 2-year anniversary. We brought in some amazing speakers. I basically tapped into my network. Jeff's tapped into his, and Chris Moore's tapped into his, and we bring, guest speakers 2 weeks a month. And you coach in there too, Terry. You do like some SEO stuff. I try to find the best people at a topic, bring them in there, and create an amazing community around it where people are okay to share and actually help each other. So it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's really, you said two key things. And one of the things that, especially for Elisabeth and I, is that we want to be hanging around the people that we want to be like. That's the biggest thing. We've been in this business a long time, and we love our friends, and we love all the stuff that we do with everybody, and we just want other groups that we can kind of go hang with, for different reasons. And Chris is MCing Spring Training, so that's pretty cool. So he is a guy that's just full of wealth and knowledge, and he'll grab your laptop from you and fix your shit without even freaking thinking twice about it.
Yeah, he's brilliant, man. He's a brilliant guy.
Yeah, and so and your event coming up here, geez, I think we're leaving in a week from tomorrow. And then it's the Mansion Masterminds. Just Elisabeth and I. Well, I went to it a year ago, and then Elisabeth and I went to. You did one 6 months later that we both got into. Well, I screwed up when I went a year ago because I didn't take notes. I'm not a note taker. I'm more of a networker type of guy. But then when Elisabeth came, she's the note taker, and then we started implementing stuff, and it's just, it's such a rock solid group that you've built. So awesome. I'm looking forward to the event. There's still tickets available, guys. Go to this thing. If you're in any type of growth pattern, whether it's personal, agency, whatever, if you want to grow, if you want to know how to get started to grow, if you're struggling, I've been perfectly honest with people. I struggle with my frontline, pipeline of leads. I'm a good closer. I'm a good fulfiller, but I'm not good at the bringing 30 leads in a month type of person for my agency. I'm good at it for everybody else, all my clients, but I'm not good at it.
It's a completely different skill set than what we do for our clients, especially if they're in like the med spa or home services, concrete. Like the way that we advertise for our clients, we're trying to get homeowners from this local environment, but trying to get concrete companies from around the country, around the world, completely different skill set. They both have marketing associated with it, but this is the same thing when we started LeadSnap, right? Like marketing for LeadSnap is completely different than trying to rank a concrete guy locally. It's just there's different stuff, right?
Totally.
So a lot of agencies struggle with that, or maybe they're great at that and they don't have the fulfillment dialed in, right? So it's hard. We're going to lean one way or another, and it's okay. You can give ourselves some grace and say, look, I don't know everything. I'm going to try to find some people who are better at the stuff that I'm not good at and learn from them. And like if you can have that kind of humility and self-awareness, this is it's a powerful group to be around. And obviously there's a lot of ones that I've learned through over the years. Just it's not limited to what ours is, like SEO Spring Training. There's a ton of
Mhm.
like really high level SEO people there. That's obviously a part of being an agency owner, is to connect with those people too.
Exactly, 100%. So, and so the mansion masterminds, you guys put everybody in a big, huge freaking mansion. Everybody stays on site, spends 3 or 4 days together. I think it's four. And basically you're absorbed into this group of people that are just, they're just total sharing, so it's a pretty awesome system. Elizabeth and I have done the mansion, the mansion masterminds also, put them on ourselves. And I've always believed that, when you put everybody into one spot and everybody gets to hang out and eat and drink and have fun and do all the different things, that, it's not just all business. You've got to have
Yeah.
that, separation of saying, hey, let's just go have some fun. Let's just, let's sit here and talk. Let's, the one you did in Gatlinburg, we're taking our family there this next summer. So, I
That's cool.
love those cabins. That was like freaking awesome,
Yeah.
and then this next one's back in Orlando. Are we in the same movie mansion, the one that had all the different movie rooms?
So I don't know if it's the movie one, or there's three or four of them that have different
Yeah,
themes. I can't remember if it's the movie one or not. Um, but yeah, it has a completely different feel when you're staying there, and everything is catered there, so you don't really have to leave. There's a pool, there's a hot tub. We bring in a
Mhm.
bartender. People are laughing and having fun, and this is kind of like breaks down from being like this where we don't want to share, to being like, let's, like, it opens people up, and real friendships
Totally.
start to form. And it goes on the road with you, right? It doesn't just
Mhm.
become like, hey, I've got to suck in every piece of knowledge I can at this event. No, because you can build some friendships, and like real friendships, not,
Yeah.
hey, I've had conversations with people on Zoom, like where we've like talked about life, and all
Mhm.
had fun together. That's where the bonds are really formed. So that's the environment we try to create.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I really encourage everybody to go. If you, if it changed our agency. We're in our 13th year this year, and it changed the way we're doing stuff. Some of the stuff we couldn't believe we weren't doing already. It was like simple stuff, and when you're just out doing, you don't really stop to look at what you've been doing and what you can do different or better. All that stuff. So, kudos to you guys for putting this together. So it's a great event.
Yeah, this is going to be, every time we do one of these, I learn a ton, and we've got some really cool people that are coming. Travis Weathers is coming
Mhm.
in, and he's going to be talking about hiring for sales, managing the sales team to make sure you get the most out of your sales people. So he runs an agency that, I think he's just over $3 million a year in annual revenue in the moving industry. And then we have Ariel Cohen. Both of these people have been on my podcast. Ariel is going to be talking to us about hiring for setters, international setters, and how to do that effectively. So she runs marketing 411. So I think they're closing in on $4 million. She's in the roofing niche. We got Ralph Burns, who Ralph he also runs a podcast that's had like 12 million downloads. But he had an offer. He had an 8-figure offer for his agency that he turned down because he said, "Hey, I got to make 29 millionaires." So I think his agency is now in the mid 8 figures. And it's really humble, really knowledgeable guy. A lot of amazing speakers. We got Ryan Davies flying over from the UK. He landed
Mhm.
500 clients in the last 12 months. He's running like a low ticket offer and then trying to move people up. So we've got him in there. Chris Martinez, he's someone I've received coaching from. He is, how do you set up your agency from the beginning so you can get an 8-figure valuation, right? It's
Mhm.
a lot of us, we run this because, and we don't have the intention of selling it. But if you build it to sell, you'll have the option to sell it. Like maybe 10 years from now, you won't want to be doing what you're doing. And if you
Yeah.
build it to sell, then it's easier for someone else to run it. So you could step away. So, um, Chris is going to talk to us about how to structure that. And we got Chris Moore, right? It was 29 companies. One
Mhm.
of them is the biggest coaching program in the world on mergers and acquisitions, Dealmaker Wealth Society. There's just so many great people that are coming in there that I'm going to be in there. Hopefully I can get myself a good seat and take a ton of notes on some of these people. And what's cool too is like, when we're at one of these conferences that is at a hotel, the
Mhm.
speaker comes, you have the time there, and then they're gone, right?
Mhm.
But when we're all staying in the mansion, and you have a lot more time to unpack these strategies, ask questions. I would say it's what's caught, not taught. So it's like they're going to teach something, but it's the conversations that happen in between the teachings where you can peel
Yeah.
back the onion a few different layers and ask real questions where it's like, oh, now I get what you're trying to say. It didn't
Mhm.
click right away for me.
Exactly, and that's and that's the whole idea of, well, that's Elizabeth and I same thing when we put on our events. So one of the reasons why when we pick a hotel is we pick it specifically for the networking aspects of it. Is there places for people to hang? Is there good
Yeah.
food on site? What's the bar situation like? What's around there that people can go, visit and go out to dinner and stuff. So I've always said that if you put on events and you don't think about the after stuff or the before stuff, then you're missing out on a lot of opportunities. So, but
Sure.
yeah, no, I'm super excited. Orlando again, and then like I said, we're gonna stay later. I think we were talking. I won't do Disney again. I'm not a Disney guy, but Universal Studios looks pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been to Disney since I was a child, so I can't compare it. But we do have a season's pass to Universal because it's only a few hours from where we live, and
Mhm.
I mean, it's expensive. Like there's
Yeah.
long lines, it's crowded, but there's also some magic there for me. It makes me feel
Mhm.
like a child when I'm in there riding those rides, and like they have a lot of that kind of like 3D stuff where you're in a car, but they have the
Yeah.
screen is like for me, I'm like, if I can spend more time feeling like a child, the better. Like,
Yeah,
with
for
with
sure.
with what we do, there's so much stress around being an entrepreneur, right?
Oh yeah, and that's that's what I tell people. I was just on a podcast last week, and they asked me what's the key to success, and I said, well, I don't know if it's the key to success. I think, but it's a key to having a fulfilling life is to have balance.
Yeah.
You can't, and I'll be 61 this year, and I still catch myself working way too much. But you have to be able to step back. You have to be able to go, spontaneous bowling or something. Just get out, get
Yeah.
away. You know, experience life because it's just like you said, entrepreneurs and the stuff that now granted the stuff I work on is stuff I enjoy working on. It's not like I'm not enjoying it, but I also know that I need to go out and work in my garden and do stuff just to get my head back into normal space. But and that's and I've always been that way, especially this is Elizabeth and I's third business together. So, we've always known we needed balance. And so it's something that, I force her to do. She forces me to do. I'm like, hey, you've been sitting in that chair 3 hours. Let's go for a drive or whatever. So
Yeah. It's
um,
important.
yeah, so super
I just
cool.
hired a performance coach. So I was watching this show Billions, and there's this character. It's like a stock hedge fund type
Hmm.
show, and they have this in-house person that helps coach the people mentally to make sure they stay
Yeah.
on the top of their game because they're working with such huge amounts of money. A small mistake could be worth $10 million, right?
Totally.
So
Yeah, it's
after
one of my
seeing that, I
favorite
was
shows,
like,
by the way. I
yeah,
love
Wendy
that show.
Rhodes, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? Everyone's got coaches. Like the top performers, they all have coaches. So like, why don't I have someone to help me with what's probably the most important part is the mental aspect of things. So
Hmm.
I found this lady through one of Chris's coach at Dealmaker Wealth Society. She was coaching some of the high end clientele at that, and I was like, let's try it out for 3 months, and it has been amazing, man. Like giving me back some like peace. I'm doing morning walks now where no one else can come on the morning walk with me. It's 15
Hmm.
to 30 minutes. It's outside. no radio, no music, just being with your thoughts and giving yourself some time to burn off some of this, like, hamster wheel thoughts that are going in your head 24 hours a day when you're an entrepreneur. And then she's got me journaling and like doing some meditation. And it's been great for me. It was exactly the recipe I needed. It just seems like a whole new level of calm, sleeping better. And then I'm like, I think I've a lot broken the habit of looking at my phone 400 times a day, because it's
Yeah.
like, I started to associate that with anxiety, which
Mhm.
before I didn't, like, I knew it was bad, but there was just no way to stop doing it. It felt like now, I'm like, I don't really want to look at that thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's I mean, for the last year, I've been doing the whole, Lewis Howes, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Mel Robbins, all these people. The negative self-talk in your head is one of my big freaking things that, I catch myself doing all the time. And, it's crazy how it just pops in. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, now all of a sudden I got all this negative shit in my head. And it's all stuff that hasn't happened yet. Right. So it's all stuff that, I might be worrying about something that I have no business even worrying about. And so I started really, I go for a drive and I listen to these podcasts, and it's really taught me a lot on how to get out of my negative self-taught. It's something I've struggled with all my life. Even when I was flipping houses, and we were one of the largest house flippers in Phoenix, I never thought I was good enough. We were making millions a month, and I never thought I was good enough. And I was like, shit. So I've really started diving into that, and that's given me some of the same stuff you said. I'm more relaxed. I wake up in a better mood. I start a routine in the morning that's not grabbing my phone and, arguing on Facebook about somebody's stupid SEO post or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. But, and I think it's super important especially for mental health and regular health, so if you get into these things in your head, the next thing you know, it's in your gut, and now it's just
Sure.
all kinds of crap's happening. So,
Yeah.
I encourage people, reach out to me. I'll help you find some ways to get started in this, aspect of it. But yeah, having a coach is awesome. Travis is coaching us on the finance side. We have multiple moving parts in our 3 different businesses, and we're trying to streamline it so it's not such a freaking, big huge machine out there.
Right.
And Travis is helping us do that. And, I'm all for people, helping us at any point in time of saying, hey, why don't you look at doing this different? Why don't you look at doing this? And, Elizabeth's coach, Dr. Cindy, she's speaking at spring training. So, and
All
she's a,
podcasts, like, briefly it showed up, and I
yeah,
wanted to go back and watch that because that seemed really interesting.
yeah, she's a C-level coach. So she gets hired by these billion-dollar companies to come in and coach the managers and the teams. And she's written multiple books. But yeah, she's really been helping Elisabeth a lot, which is just awesome. So, but I truly believe that you can't do it by yourself. You really
Yeah.
can't.
No,
Yeah.
nobody has.
Um,
Like,
yeah.
it may seem that way from the sideline, but that's not how it's worked. Tiger Woods has like a mental coach, like all the Tom Brady, all the top performers, not
Yeah.
just in sports, but in everything. Um, you know, there was this study that came out where they looked at the top 25 tennis players, and the top five, they had a lot less negative talk
Mhm.
than the other 20, right? And then they started noticing this pattern that happens, and it's not so much the presence of positive talk, it's the absence of the negative self-talk that the top performers seem to have. They even mic'd up they do like the NFL where they mic up a guy, and he
Mhm.
like, so this guy, he's mic'd up, and what happens is you forget that you're mic'd up halfway through the
Yeah.
game. Like, you're in the heat of the battle, right? And you forget. So this guy, he made some really costly mistake, and he was mic'd up, and he was over on the sideline by himself. And he was
Mhm.
over there. You're living the dream. You're exactly what you're supposed to be. You're learning. You're getting better. Like, that was immediately where his mind went. And
Yeah.
they started like comparing this, and it's that lack of negative self-talk, and it does creep in there. I just read, we're doing a book club in Rank Masters,
I was
So
just going to ask
that's
you
part of
about
what
that.
we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the book we're doing right now is it's called the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. So Naval Ravikant is this. He didn't write the book. They gathered this guy's thoughts from like tweets and all this information that's out there on them. But he's a very he was an early investor in like Airbnb and Uber and Facebook, and like he runs this VC called Angel List. Just a brilliant man in the tech space, and he has trained himself to, like, he's got it down to like a second where something bad happens and it's positive thoughts. And he dives
Yeah.
deep into that. It's a really easy book to read, Terry. I would highly
Right on.
recommend that you check that one out, man.
Yeah.
It's really
I just
entertaining.
got the new 4 hour work
Oh
week.
yeah.
So
Tim
this is the
Ferriss,
new
yeah.
one. He added about 100 pages to it. And so it's always been one of my favorite things is, work less and enjoy life more,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'll definitely check out that one. That's pretty cool. I got to get into the book club. The problem with me in book clubs is I'm not really, you got to have this chapter read by next Friday. I don't read like that. I just pick up a book and I'll read for a couple of days and I'll leave it for a week and then I'll pick it up again.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I want to do that because it's one of the things that, books are awesome, and it's, and I'll download the audio book also and listen to on the plane. But those things I just think that if people aren't, again, continually education, what are you struggling with? I can't believe the negative self-talk, the Mel Robbins podcast, that I love her. But she just basically said, every time you get a negative thought in, just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's gone. Move on.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm
And
gonna check
it's
it out. It sounds interesting.
it's pretty freaking cool because negative thought, it'll ruin your day. Especially if it's something that you're worried about happening that hasn't happened. You put in
Yeah.
all these, oh, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, or nothing could happen.
Yeah. It's usually the case. Like we worry about a lot more things that don't happen. And a
Yeah,
lot of times when they do happen, they're not as bad as we think. Right. So
100%. Well,
yeah,
one of the
it's
things there was a Facebook post this morning, one of my favorite people, and she said, what's the best business advice you've ever gotten? And I have this thing called my 24-hour rule. So if I get a bad, voicemail or a bad email, anything negative, blah, 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 I don't even touch it for 24 hours. I don't respond. I don't get into a fight. I don't call back and we're calling each other names or whatever. And what I found out about is, I found out doing that is that most of the time I wasn't even the problem. It was just they were going through something and I just happened to be the guy that they could call or that they could complain to or whatever. And, and it's really, I started doing that, and obviously in flipping houses when you have investors calling you and freaking screaming at you and everything else. And I'm not talking to you about it until tomorrow,
yeah.
And then when I do talk to them about it tomorrow, they're like, oh, it wasn't you. I was pissed off at my
They're
ex.
venting on you.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
and that's, but you do have to respond. Don't ignore, don't go 72, 96 hours and then forget about it altogether. But,
Right.
but that's always, and Elisabeth was talking about that in our staff meeting this morning, is that, if Terry doesn't answer you for 24 hours because you sent a negative email, that's why. So,
Yeah.
but no, that's cool. So tell me about what you're thinking about doing at spring training. Have you thought much about it?
I want to review. I want to review what the other people are speaking about and see where there's a gap and there's a hole that aligns with my experience and
Mhm.
what we specialize in. A lot of times I'm changing it, right? If everyone's talking about this one thing, then like let me try to bring something else. So the last year, I think I've been there I did 1 year at SEO Spring Training. Last
Yeah.
year I talked about the whole like personal freedom, scaling your agency piece, because SEO Spring Training, obviously, it's in the name. It's going to be a lot of like SEO. No matter how good you are at SEO, you can't really fully take advantage of that if it's not a piece of a bigger thing. If
Mhm.
it's not a part of a machine that you've got the operations, we've got client acquisition, team management, all these different pieces. So I want to find out what's going to be the most valuable to the audience. And I don't know if you have any recommendations on that, but yeah,
Well, one of the
I want it to have
things,
an impact.
yeah, for sure. One of the things, you're on the main stage. So we do main stage in the morning and then breakout rooms in the afternoon. This year, it's even though it's SEO spring training, there's actually not much SEO. So we're doing a lot of we're going to have an automation room. We're going to have an AI room. We're still going to have an SEO room, of course. We got some powerful SEO speakers like Jason Hennessy. I think he has a $20 million business. So we've got some powerful people that are going to talk about SEO type stuff. But I'm at the point right now that if you aren't on the way to automation and I don't care what you're doing. You have to go that direction. You're going to get so far left behind. You're going to get especially on the AI side, which I struggle keeping up with it all. So I'm a fulfillment guy. Fulfillment guys don't typically go out and have time to play with, all the new AI stuff out there. But I do believe that, there's certain things within AI and automation that even as a freelancer, you need to be doing, so, putting Dan Kurtz and all kinds of people in the automation room, Monique and Herc and Tristan, these are some of the best automators in the freaking planet. You and I have been, friends with Dan for years. But I think it's going to be awesome because you still have to do with the other stuff. You still have to worry about client retention. Client retention is actually Salterra's #1 goal this year. It's client retention. So I don't want to lose anybody, and we don't lose people that often anyways, but we have a focus. I have one person right now that's all they're doing this year is focusing on client retention. What do we need to do better? What do we need to report? But then you got the sales side, then you got the closing side, and I'm not sure what Travis will talk about, but he's also going to be along that same line of, last year I think he talked about his Facebook stuff that he did, to where he basically infiltrate a group and start getting leads from it.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think he did that at our event. I can't remember what he did at. I thought he talked about something else at SEO Spring Training. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he might have, and it's just, but it's one of the things that, that people need to realize and people need to think about. Again, I don't care if you're a freelancer. Most of the people that come to spring training are at the agency entrepreneur level. But you're going to be able to pick and choose what you want to go watch and what you want to go see and do all that stuff in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And we did it last year was the first year we did the breakout rooms, and it was a huge hit, because people could, hey, I'm going to go learn some stuff about AI at 1:00 or whatever, create your own schedule, or go take a nap. I don't care. There's no pressure.
Right. I just, I just had an idea of a strategy that we're putting into that it's probably been 6 months and it's been really, really successful for us. And we don't see a lot of other people doing it. Is we've been doing a lot of gifting in our agency. So I actually brought on a guy who, well, I read about it in the Ultimate Sales Machine, and then we started doing it maybe 6 months or a year ago. And then I saw a presentation about it, and it really gave us some insight. And then we're putting that into place, and it's been amazing. So sending like gifts as a way to open up the conversation, right?
Yeah.
If you send cookies or something like not like some like store-bought type, like real like gourmet cookies that are expensive. Like it may be like $12 a cookie, and you send, 6 of these things. So it costs you $100 to get them there overnight. But like our closing rate has gone up, our conversations have improved. We send someone $100 thing of cookies, and then we're able to close them for $4,000 or $5,000 a month, right? And like we've got a whole playbook around that. That could be a good thing because I don't see many agencies doing that. It has been incredibly powerful for us in our agency. Like when
and you really haven't. When this was probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I'm not sure what this gentleman is doing now. He sold his agency, but he was sending out an iPad he would pick 10 people every quarter, 10 companies every quarter. These were high-end companies. These weren't, Joe's Plumbing in Plano, Texas. And, he would send him an iPad, and as soon as they turned on the iPad, his video and his presentation would start up. and it'd be like, hey, keep this iPad as a gift from us. You know, here's who we are, here's what we do. And he would close 8 out of 10 in that quarter.
It's crazy.
Because
Yeah.
you know, and these were $15,000, $20,000 a month clients. So, you know, and so just I agree, anything like that. I still know a girl, she sends thank you cards and personally written cards for birthdays and, you know, all this crazy stuff that us techno people just, you write what? You know,
Yeah.
I'll send an email.
Right.
You know, but I think that's awesome, because I do think that people will, especially if you're niched down. If you're niched down and you do that, then, you know, that's cool. That's awesome that you even mentioned that. I forgot all about this guy. When I first learned about what he was doing, of course, I wasn't at the level to be able to go out and buy 10 iPads, you know, and do this stuff. But, you know, it was pretty intriguing the way he did it. And it fully researched. He didn't send these to fly by night people. He only sent these to people that he wanted as clients. You know, it wasn't like a throw spaghetti against the wall thing and see what sticks.
Right.
He was very hyper focused. And
yeah,
you know,
there's kind of like awesome. Your clients. Yeah.
Yep. For sure. 100%. So we do have ticket payments that are going to end at the end of this month just because of math. So if you want to break up your tickets, it's on all level tickets. You can do up to 3 payments to help your cash flow or whatever. But then March 1st, it's gone just because you have to be paid up by the 23rd of April before the conference. So, but yeah, we've got some crazy good people coming this year. We're doing an affiliate panel, which I'm a big affiliate guy. I think as long as somebody's willing to sell a product and give you a piece of it, there's always going to be affiliates. So, you know, we got freaking James Dooley, Craig Campbell, and Carl Hudson doing the affiliate panel. And these guys are massive. I mean, millions a month they make, millions, you know. And so I'm super excited to bring that in and say, hey, look, you're good at ranking the plumbers. Go out and rank some stuff for you. Go out and make some of your own money, you know. Go out and put some work into, you know, whether you're creating a lead gen system or affiliate system or something. You know, I have a lot of stuff that I look forward to. I work on the weekends. That's what I do on the weekends. I work on my stuff. I don't work on my client stuff. So, but yeah, it's come to spring training. It's going to be incredible. But of course, you know, the biggest thing that, you know, just get out and do this stuff, whether you go to these mansion masterminds or these events, you know, make a point to go to these things. These things will change your life, guaranteed. So, you know, you go to these events where all the speakers hang out together. They're all in the same hotel. They're in the same mansion, whatever. That's when you get all the questions answered and asked. So
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
very cool. So
that event last year, man, the SEO Spring Training, I've always categorized these events. I've been to so many of these. I had the Mansion Masterminds event over here by itself. I had all these other events on this side, where this one was always felt like more intimate and we're doing fun stuff. And then I went to SEO Spring Training, and now there's another one that's over here for me, where it's just like there's a real opportunity to connect and have fun. You know, last year with you know, I'd never met Travis. Travis, like, as soon as I showed up, he's like, hey, I want to be your golf buddy. And I was like, who? I'm like, who is this dude? Like, what's going on here? You know? And 4 hours later, I'm like, I love this guy. I want to hang out with Travis. He's really smart. He's really successful. And now we become good friends. Right. And then we had the baseball game where we got to hang out. I never went to a baseball game where I had box seats before. That was amazing. That was so cool. Right. It was like, we're all in one spot. We're in there having some drinks, having some great food. It was just an awesome event. And the way you set it up. So anyone that's on the fence out there for this, and Terry, we even talked about like having a combo deal. If anyone's interested in going to both the Mansion Mastermind and this, I'm sure Terry and I can work out some kind of deal for you guys where we make it real. Because ultimately, I don't know Terry's financial side of the event, but I know on ours, we're not trying to do this to profit. Right? We're trying to do this to bring people together and to be able to pay for what's there and build some friendships. I know that I'll profit from those relationships long term, and that's enough. right? Like if I can just get a bunch of awesome people in the room and we can learn, like then like this is going to make things better for me. It's going to make things better for other people. I'm going to build friendships, which is it's not always easy, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people with ulterior motives that are in this space. And when you get to go and like, you can start to build some friendships when you get to hang out with some people and kind of sort through some of the nonsense that's out there.
Yeah, and most of us are introverts. I'm an introvert. You know, I tell people all the time, you put me in a brand new room of people I don't know, I'm just going to sit in a corner until somebody comes up to me. I'm not a guy that'll walk up to a crowd of people and say, "Hey, I'm Terry." You know, I've just never been that way. But these events, you know, you become, especially if the event is built for networking, because I have been to events that it's tough to network. Big events in Vegas, it's tough to really network because you typically have to go somewhere with somebody to do stuff. It's not like you can just hang down at the lobby and, you know, BS with somebody that just shows up type of thing. So, but I do think it'll help you get out of your comfort zone and into stuff that's really going to make a difference. Like I said, there's people here. I'd love to add up the math, but there's probably people 50 million, $100 million people of everybody combined, you know, and, you know, for $1,000, hell yeah, come freaking hang out with these people, you know? So, so it's, you know, it's always going to be, it's our passion. And we did this because we've been to events and they were either, you know, high pitch, high sales, or there was, you know, really no comfort level. You know, it seemed like everything was high pressure. You know, and so when we decided to do this 6 years ago, we said, look, we're just going to have a whole bunch of people get together, you know, and hang out. And, we'll bring some people on stage as a secondary thing. So I've always, you know, we did our New Orleans Mastermind. We literally had like 2 speakers, and then we went to New Orleans. We went to Bourbon Street, you know, everybody, all 40 freaking people, let's go, you know. So, and so those type of things, you know, when you get away from the mundane everyday work stuff and learning, and you get into just hanging, just talking, you know, showing people stuff on laptops, you know, little groups together and in different spaces, you know, that's awesome. That's where you can just sit back and watch and meet people that you never thought, you know. I mean, I was so happy to see like Brian Hong and frickin' Gregory Ortiz came to your last one that you did. You know, it's awesome to see those guys, you know, so break out in those type of events. But so, and message me if you have any problems or questions or whatever about either event. You know, Patric's also out there doing stuff. So I know you're driving today to heading home, but I look forward to seeing you a week from tomorrow. It's going to be fun.
Buddy, let's go, man. It's going to be great. Thank you for having me on here, Terry. This is awesome.
Yep. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. We'll have another one here in the next, probably in the next month or so. We're going to start probably doing 2 or 3 a week to get all the speakers on and talk about the different things that are happening. So, cool. But drive safe today, and you know, love to the wife. Can't wait to see her too next week. So she's the most important part of coming. It's not you. But
I'll let her know. I'll make sure she knows.
All right. Well, thank you, my friend. We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care, brother.
Okay.
Bye.